Are Gentiles blessed or judged in the kingdom? It's Priest Sakai TGC Ministries back at y'all with another one. I know y'all missed my glass button up, but uh-oh, uh-oh. I know y'all missed my button up with the cufflinks and my nice specs, but it's all good. We're gonna get this going. We're gonna get this Friday night. It's popping like fish grease on a Friday night, y'all. Get in here. Let me get over on to Clubhouse. Let me start this Clubhouse. We're doing a simulcast again. We'll be doing Clubhouse and YouTube at the same dang time. At the same dang time. Okay. Never needed the heck? I want you to take me serious. Was that my song? Okay, so now what I need to do is start the Clubhouse right here. And then I'm going to switch it over to the YouTube scene. Peace and blessings to y'all. I think we prefer the Yankees hoodie. Come on, bro. We got to up we got to up the drip. We got to up the sauce, bro. We got to up the sauce and the drip. All right, we are live on Clubhouse now. So we're going to get this Clubhouse going. Let me join that room too. Got everybody in here. Let me Yo, mic check. Yes. Let me know how the audio sounding. All praise to the Most High. We're gonna get this thing started. Y'all see the title of the lesson: Are Gentiles blessed or are they judged in the kingdom? Yeah, let me. We'll be discussing, the various scriptures that speak about Gentiles and their impending destruction, judgment, etc. And we'll go over the scriptures that say. Hold on, but before we get started, let me make sure I got this simulcast going. We already got somebody coming up to the top. Yeah, because what people need to understand is there's far more nuance in the Bible than what people, give it. There's times where there is absolutism, in the scriptures. However, there's often times where there's a lot of nuance. So, for example, I think I'll just go over one scripture now. So in Deuteronomy chapter 30, it's a very famous scripture, not famous, but it's a very popular scripture within our community, the Hebrew Israelite community. And it's one that I myself used to use a lot. And Deuteronomy 30, starting at the top, it details, the blessings and the cursings coming upon the nation of Israel and what we would need to do in order to get brought back to the land by the Most High. And then it says, particularly in verse 7, that all these curses should come upon all your enemies and all they that hate you. So now, what is the question? The question is this: are all the Gentiles our enemies? Are the Gentiles going to get the curses upon them? Because when we see other passages in the New Testament and in the Old Testament about there being Gentiles who join to Israel and they are servants of the Most High and they get to rejoice in the house of the Most High, it seems to contradict it. Is it a contradiction, though? No, it's not. It's very easy to harmonize. All you got to do is just read it very slowly in Deuteronomy chapter 30. All these curses will come upon all your enemies and all that hate you. Every Gentile is not our enemy. Now, when we go to scriptures like Psalm chapter 83 and it lists the various nations that are our enemies, I don't deny that. The Bible is pretty clear. The nations in general are our enemies. But not every individual from said nations are our enemies. I'll give you an example. And this is where we're going to have to just kind of I'm going to go into the Bible and show examples, and then I'm going to go outside the Bible. But first, matter of fact, I want to highlight this one person. His name is Thomas Garrett. So I'm going to read this quick. Thomas Garrett was a abolitionist who helped 2,300 slaves escape. He was heavily prosecuted in Delaware, particularly after 1850, and was fined nearly to the point of bankruptcy. He was fined, I think, $10,000, which in today's money is like $483,000, something to that extent. This guy freed almost 3,000 black people out of slavery. Are we going to seriously say that that guy is our enemy and that he hates us? How would you justify that? Moses' wife was a Gentile. Was she our enemy? Did she hate us? Moses' father-in-law was a Gentile. Was he our enemy? Did he hate us? Ruth was not an Israelite. I know people say she was, but she's not. Was she our enemy? Did she hate us? What about the non-Israelites that are in our army? Uriah, the men from Gath. What about the Kenites? I could go on and on and on. The point is as follows, that not every single Gentile is our enemy, but for those who are our enemies, which would be certainly the majority of them, then those scriptures concerning their destruction would apply to them. Absolutely. All these curses shall come upon all of your enemies, not all Gentiles, and those who hate you. Not every Gentile hates us. Same thing in Jeremiah. In Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16, when it says, all of your adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. Well, again, the same point in Jeremiah chapter 30, that not every single one of them is our adversary. Okay, so we got somebody said, Akazai, y'all entire doctrine is for 5% of them that will be saved. That's incredible. Okay, brother. Well, let's get you on here real quick. Priest, you got to make me a moderator. Let's get our brother Akaza on here. He's definitely got the courage to come speak to us. I know he does. So let's get that brother on here. And he left the room. I think that kind of speaks for the ideology in and of itself.
That was a real hit and run.
Try to talk to people about this. It's like the plague.
That was a real hit and run.
They want nothing to do with it.
That was a real hit and run.
Right.
Oh well, hold on.
But I think it's telling, because here's the position, family. We used to teach this for years. This ideology, we used to teach it for years, and I'm sure a lot of people would say that we were I'm not going to put a number on in terms of rank, but we were one of the top people in the community in terms of debating, in particular, this subject. But it comes to a point where you have to ask yourself, is this biblical? Does the Bible teach this? And if the answer is no, then you have to just submit to what is true. But what I think brothers are, I guess you could say, afraid of is the fact that if we stumbled across this and found out that it's not true, and we are able to articulate it at a probably higher level than a lot of other people, then they just want to run. It's like it's like when you were a kid and when you thought a monster was in your room, so you put the blanket over you. So you thought, well, I can't see the monster, so therefore I can just ignore it. The monster can't see me. No, it doesn't. You turning a blind eye to this information doesn't mean that it's going to go away. And I can speak for myself. I tried to do that. It got to a point where I just, hopefully I'll just forget about it. But if you truly love God, you can't forget about something as imperative as this. So, do we got anybody that's...
I got a few things that I want to say too. I wanted to have this discussion with somebody, but at this point, I'm just gonna pull up my screen and start reading. If I got an echo?
Yes, a little bit.
Hold on, let me put my 1 second, YouTube. Grab my earphones.
So what makes a Gentile an enemy? Someone that only wants to harm you? Well, one is being an enemy to God. That's the God of Israel. So if they're against our God, then obviously that they are against us. So if a Gentile is an enemy to God, then they're an enemy to us. And if they're in active hostility against the people of Israel, that would make them an enemy. What would make an Israelite your enemy? What would make any human being your enemy? Someone who's adverse to you. That's what the word enemy means. What makes somebody your friend? Okay, well, what's the opposite of that? Your enemy. Mic check.
Okay. Am I good now?
Yeah, you're good now.
All right. So I wanted to go over a couple of things. Peace to the chat, everybody in the chat. The entitlement of our people to think right. I'm talking about real entitlement. I want to show YouTube will be able to see this, but um I want to talk about something real quick. Watch this, you guys. So, and we just added this presentation that we have, the new and updated presentation. It's really something to cry over. And what I mean by cry over, it's so blessed and holy and put together. This new updated presentation with all these gems and these sources, ancient sources, modern sources, and this is just simply in the Torah. So I want you guys to listen up close. First, if all nations, because that's how, and we got to thank God that it's not all the Israelites. It's really only one West. And there's millions and millions of woke Israelites on the earth. So you got about 10,000 Israelites on the earth who only think like this. So you got to thank God that it's not the majority of the Israelites. Although the camps are the face of the Israelites, that's unfortunate. But that's how the media wants it to be. If all nations are our enemies in totality, why are they allowed to live in our land, for one? And why does the Torah, Philo, and Josephus say to love the ones who convert like you love yourself? Why? Well, let's get it in the Torah. Leviticus 19, 33 and 34. And if a stranger shall sojourn among you and will keep the Passover, look, and mind you, and will keep the Passover. That means it's optional for us. This proves that this stranger is not an Israelite. And there's not one ancient scholar and theologian, white, black, yellow, Chinese, or purple Barney, that will say the stranger in all these verses are Israelites. Not one. But we don't even need a scholar. The context alone proves that this is an actual non-Israelite. An Israelite don't have the option to keep the Passover or not. It's mandatory. So it says, if he will keep the Passover unto the Lord, according to the ordinances of the Passover, shall he do. You shall have one ordinance both for the stranger and for him that is born in the land. I think it cut out some of the verse, but I'll re-edit that in a second. But then Deuteronomy 10, 18, and 19, it says, he does execute the judgment of the fatherless and the widow. He loveth the stranger in giving him food and raiment. Love ye therefore the stranger, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Now, out of 8 billion people, there's 0.0000001% of people who ever lived that would say something stupid like, yeah, that's Israelites. You know what that would mean? That means the Israelites were Egyptians in Egypt. That's what you would have to say, because that's how the verse is explaining explicitly. You were in a foreign land amongst foreign people. Therefore, when foreign people are in your land who are not of your people, treat them right, because the Egyptians treated you right until that Pharaoh came up that didn't know Joseph.
I think you should expound on that a little more, because they're gonna isolate that point. You're saying, what do you mean the Egyptians treated us good? Nigga, you're a raccoon.
Well, let's just keep reading. Exodus 22 and 21. Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Exodus 23 and 9. And thou shalt not oppress a stranger, for you know the heart of a stranger, seeing you were strangers in the land of Egypt. All scholars and theologians, whether modern or ancient, agree this is not an Israelite stranger. Every one of these passages give the same reason. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Israel was not Israelite in Egypt. They were foreigners in another nation. The comparison only works if the ger, which that's the Hebrew word, is likewise. Anything else is illogical and narcissistic. You understand that? But we got more sources. Let me take a look at the chat. How's my chat doing? I agree with the nation. Okay, so now let's keep going. Watch this. And I'm gonna answer that question. Somebody said, "Why are we judged as a nation and other the Gentile nations are not?" I got it pulled up on my screen. Give me 1 second. But look at this. First century Israelite, contemporary to Christ. His name is Philo, and he's going to explain those same laws that I just mentioned. This is on Philo, the Virtues, sections 20 to 22. Philo is the primary historian for the first century. Primary historian from all scholarly historians for the first century. So if you want to act like you now know the Torah, or you have a better understanding on how day-to-day life was in Israel when you were just eating Baconators from Wendy's and McRibs from McDonald's a couple years ago before you even knew you were an Israelite, and you don't know how to speak Hebrew, and you're going to tell me you know more than Philo as far as not necessarily the breakdowns, but I'm saying what he's seen when he went to Israel. What did he see?
When he was there. He was literally there looking with his own 2 eyes, seeing. He's writing down what he's seeing.
So what does he say on sections of virtues? He says, moreover, after the lawgiver has established commandments, this is section 102. After the lawgiver established commandments respecting one's fellow countrymen, he proceeds to show that he looks upon strangers also as worthy of having their interests attended to by his laws. What does that mean? There's laws in the Torah that protect the strangers that convert and proselytize to Israel. Look at what it says. Since they have forsaken their natural relations by blood. Meaning they rejected their own people and now they're coming to live amongst us. Whole different ethnic group, whole different race. Whole different blood. That's the point too. Different blood. One blood. Yep. And it says, in their native land and their natural customs and the sacred temples of their gods and the worship and honor which they had been wont to pay to them, and have migrated with the holy migration, changing their abode of fabulous inventions for that of the certainty and clearness of the truth and of the worship of the one true living God. Then he goes on to say, accordingly, he commands the men of his nation to love the strangers. Look, you guys got to get mad at Moses. You got to get mad at Philo. Get mad at God. I'm taking it back. Let me drop the chain of command. You got to get mad at Philo. You got to be mad at Moses, and ultimately, you got to be mad at the angel of the Lord, the angels who were the mediators right there, the conduits, and then you got to get mad at the Most High God. I didn't write this, and even if you don't like it, obedience is better than your comfort. Obedience is better than comfort. Let's get Brother Daniela on here. Okay, Daniela, come up to the stage. Invite to stage. Here we go. One thing, I've been working on, family, I'm going to be honest with you, is patience and long suffering. I'm going to make it my mission that when I disagree, I'm not going to call nobody names. I'm not going to be disrespectful at all. If you want to disrespect me and call me out of my name, that's okay. I won't return it. I won't return the favor. But if you're going to call us names, at least have the dignity to have a conversation with us. So, Brother Daniela, I seen you said that Deacon's a fraud. He's probably not. Let's just move on until did you invite him up?
Yeah, I'll do so again.
Okay. Anyway, so to answer some of these questions in the chat, he said, so you're saying all nations was in the wilderness? No. If you look at the Torah, it says for the people who are standing here and those who are not, meaning your descendants. So these laws are perpetual laws. And it's a legislation that is from generation to generation. Also, to answer the brother's question, about the nations, why aren't they judged as an we are judged as a nation, the good and bad, but they are not. That's wild. Well, that's not necessarily true because Jeremiah didn't go into captivity. You can read the book of Jeremiah, he didn't go into captivity. And so let me pull this up real quick. There's a reason for that though. Why do we get judged harsher? Amos 3:2 tells you, you only have I chosen of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your sins. Matthew chapter 11 says the same thing. I read this. You guys must not watch the videos. Matthew 11:20, 21. Woe unto you, Chorazin! Woe unto you, Bethsaida! Then he tells them, but I tell you, it will be more bearable for Tyre and Zidon on the day of judgment than for you. So again, you got to get mad at Christ. You got to get mad at God. They're saying it's going to be more tolerable for certain. Look at this in the Canaanites, more tolerable, more bearable. That means the Israelites get it worse when it comes to judgment in that case. So you got to be mad at that.
Yeah, why? Because Paul tells you in Romans 2, he says, tribulation. Let me just start quoting it. I'm gonna pull it up.
Let me put a link in the chat for DeMarcus. Come on here, DeMarcus. DeMarcus says, why are you trying to? I'm not trying to do nothing. I'm teaching the Bible. My day-to-day mission is, my day-to-day life is taking care of my all-black family, hanging out with my black friends. Okay, just so you guys can know. And some of them,
I love Paul. I love
my black friends. Okay, but what I'm not gonna do is lie on the Bible and just go by what the elders taught me, when really the elders were teaching Gentile salvation before any of you niggas who's listening even knew you were an Israelite. And we added that to the presentation. But go ahead, brother.
Romans 2:9. Tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that doeth evil, of the Jew first and also of the Gentile. So we receive the punishment first. Why? Why is that? Well, Paul tells you in the very next chapter, Romans 3:1, what advantage then had the Jew, or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, because that unto them were committed the oracles of God. That's why we receive a harsher punishment, is because we were given the laws of God directly. So we are held to a higher standard as his covenant people. But just like we are judged greater and we are held to a higher standard, we also get a greater reward. That's why if you continue reading in Romans 2 and verse 10, it says, but glory, honor, and peace to everyone that worketh good, to the Jew first, and then to the Gentile. So there's a balance. We get a harsher judgment because we ought to do better. We're God's chosen people. But we also, as God's chosen people, receive a greater punishment. Why? Because, again, we're God's chosen people. It's a clear balance.
But the laws that Philo, the brother asked who is Philo. Philo is a Israelite historian, contemporary to our Lord, and also he is the primary source of history, one of the primary sources of history in the first century that all scholars, kind of reference. So he is expounding on the laws that I just quoted. Deuteronomy 10, where it says, love the stranger as yourself. Leviticus 19, where it says, love the stranger as yourself. And not only, of course, does Torah makes a juxtaposition, but Philo also expounds on that. Like, yeah, those are strangers who are not from blood, not from the same blood as the Israelites. And it says to love them as yourself. All right. So don't shoot me, burn his books, and then please don't burn the Torah. But if you disagree, you kind of would have to do that. So let me keep going, because I got a couple more things that I also wanted to, until somebody clicks the link or we get somebody on Clubhouse. I see Officer Kasha, y'all in the chat. Let me answer this question. Am I wrong if I don't like heathens in general? I always had a handful that I've been cool with, that I've deep down hoped could get some mercy, so I'm cool with that. So generally, yes, like we still teach, and like the Bible teaches, generally all these nations are adversarial to us, but there are some, a remnant, who are not. And it's been like that for a millennium. So especially being that we're in exile, what we're saying is what the law says pertains to, when we're in our land, we have our sovereignty and autonomy. So let me keep reading this real quick before I lose my train of thought. He also says, but the lawgiver, section 106. Okay, watch this. Section 106. But the lawgiver here, going beyond all the ordinary boundaries of humanity, thinks it fitting and ordains that such sojourners shall bear no ill will even to those men who. So now Philo is saying that the law is also saying that these Gentiles who convert or who are proselytized cannot boast themselves against the natural branches, which is why we see Paul saying that in the New Testament. Look at what he says. He says that when we receive them, they can't have no ill will towards us because we received them in the land, may have ill treated them, since though their actions may not have been kind, their name at least resembles the characteristics of humanity. Therefore, he says in express terms, thou shalt not curse the Egyptian, because thou wast a sojourner in the land of Egypt. And he mentions Deuteronomy 27:3. And yet, what evil did the Egyptians ever omit to inflict upon this nation, being continually adding new devices of cruelty to the old ones? So Philo is saying, even after they did that, the Lord said, those who want to join and cleave, receive them, which is why we see the mixed multitude, section 108. And if any of them should be willing to forsake their old ways and to come over to the customs and constitutions of the Jews, they are not to be rejected and treated with hostility as the children of enemies, but to be received in such a manner that in the third generation they may be admitted into the assembly, which is the congregation. I know it's cut off, but you guys get the gist and the drift. All right. So there's so much more. And Josephus even expounds on the loving the stranger as yourself, as is quoted in the Torah. This is going to be Josephus, first century historian, Antiquities of the Jews, book 3, chapter 12, verse 3. And look what he says. He says, let me try to zoom out a little bit here. Okay. And truly Moses gave them all these precepts, being such as were observed during his own lifetime. But though he lived now in the wilderness, yet he did make provision of how they might observe the same laws when they should have taken the land of Canaan. He gave them rest to the land from plowing and planting every 7th year, as he had prescribed to them to rest from working every 7th day, and ordered that then what grew of its own accord out of the earth should be common, belong to all that pleased to use it, making no distinction in that respect between their own countrymen and foreigners. And he ordained that they should do the same after 7 times 7 years, which in all 50 years, and at the 50th year called the year of Jubilee, wherein all debtors are free from the slave. Let me see. What's the next one? Book 4, chapter 8, verse 2. O you Israelites and fellow soldiers who have been partners with me in this long and uneasy journey, since it is now the will of God in the course of old age at 120, requires it that I should depart out of this life. He's speaking about Moses. And since God has forbidden me to be a patron or an assistant to you in what remains to be done beyond the Jordan, because he didn't make it to the promised land, I thought it reasonable not to leave off you the eternal enjoyment of good things and memorial for myself when you shall be in fruition of great plenty and prosperity. Come therefore, let me suggest to you by what means you may be happy and may leave an eternal prosperous possession thereof to your children after you. And then let me thus go out of the world. And I cannot but deserve to be believed by you, both on the account of the great things I have already done for you, and because when souls are about to leave the body, they speak with the sincerest freedom. O children of Israel, there is but one source of happiness for all mankind, the favor of God. So this is Josephus. He's referencing Moses in his last days. and that all the source of happiness for all mankind is the Most High God. But going back, he also concludes that these laws are to protect not only our own countrymen by our same blood, but those who are not by our blood. So you just got to get mad at what Josephus is seeing in his time period. And please don't let me pull up the Targum Jonathan, that first century commentary. But go ahead, Assad. I feel like I've been rambling. Any questions, comments, or smoke on the clubhouse scene? Okay, let's see. So do you believe it's against the law to sin against the heathens? What do you mean? Like to unalive a heathen? That's even against the Noahic laws. The Noahic law said no bloodshed. Somebody posts Isaiah 56:8. The New Living Translation, for the sovereign Lord who brings back the outcasts of Israel, I will bring others too besides my people Israel. Dagger. And how do we keep heathens in check within a congregation if they are in rule? Well, I don't have any. You would have to ask somebody who actually has Gentiles in their congregation. I would not even suppose. I would declare that everything we do needs to be Torah centered and everybody be obedient to Torah. I see a cousin in the chat. This is a good precept. Deuteronomy 24:17. True justice must be given to foreigners living among you and to orphans, and you must never accept a widow's garment as a security for her debt. Okay, so you're saying that you can break these laws if we're not. That's just like saying the laws are only for while we're in the land. If that's the case, brother, then why would Deuteronomy 30 say we got to keep these laws even outside the land in exile? All right. Clubhouse is dead today. The Lord's Spirit on them like it's on us, Peter states in the book of Acts. So let me continue on this because I wanted to bring out some of these points. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. Hassad, when you come back on, let me know. Let me zoom in. About 75. Okay, so and this is something too as well that I wanted to talk about. If you're a One West Israelite, basically if you're from the camps, and you're a One West Israelite, what did your founders teach? That's important. What did your founders teach? The founders and elders of One West Israelites were teaching this doctrine from the 1940s to the 1990s. I'm going to venture to say these guys are right. Well, let's take a look at just a couple excerpts from their artifacts that they left behind. Let's take a look at some of the artifacts that they left behind here. So we have Marks of a Lost Race. This is going to be by Abba Bivens. Abba Bivens arguably could be considered or called the founder of One West. Even if he's not, the founders of One West were taught by him and perpetuated and regurgitated his Gentile teachings. Can we prove that? Absolutely. Can y'all hear me on Clubhouse? I feel like I can't see the chat. Let me know if y'all can hear me on Clubhouse. One second. Wait, Hassad, you've been talking this whole time? When did I cut out? Oh my God. When did I cut out? Oh my God. What was the last thing I said? Oh my God. I was going crazy too. Let me see. Okay. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh my God. I was dumping too.
All good.
I was going in, man. I was reading Philo, Josephus, how they were expounding on.
We heard Philo. We heard you read Philo.
Okay, it's all good. We ain't getting no smoke over here. So let's
We got
see.
a couple people saying some rude things, but that's it.
Some rude stuff. Okay. Somebody says, I feel like we've all felt like a heathen could possibly understand, and we just to say they gotta be Jake. Right.
Well, not only that, but I mean, it's true. People say, yeah, well, maybe they're an Israelite. But now that kind of begs the question. The reason why, and this is why this is very dangerous, this ideology, I just have to be blunt. Because now what you're essentially doing is you're putting race on that least equal standing with God. And a lot of people have said it. I think we should play that clip, matter of fact, that their race is more important to them than God.
Wow.
Why do I say that? Because if you can look at a person and you can see that they're a good person, and maybe they, when you said that there's a Gentile, so I'm like, you know what, man, I hope Most High has mercy on them. I hope that they're an Israelite. Instead of hoping that they repent and keep Torah, I hope great grandfather's a black guy. What? Where's that at in the Bible? So now this person could be a terrific individual, keep Torah, believe in the Messiah, but because their 34th ancestor on their father's side, something they had no control over, isn't an Israelite, they're completely screwed. Where's that at in the Bible? Someone show me that. I dare you. There's not one verse. It does not exist.
Somebody asked for the calendar. Just email me. I'll get you guys the calendar for the Passover. We're going into this calendrical science, show you guys why certain camps and congregations have different calendars and what they're possibly doing wrong. Somebody says, did the founders teach that we were in the old or the new covenant? That's a good question. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
It's likely they probably taught we're in the new covenant. But yeah, I think when I heard this type of rhetoric, like, God is.
Oh, they want to hear the clip. They want to hear the clip.
We need people to hear that clip. And
Okay.
I want to say this too.
I'll play it.
This is not all Hebrew Israelites, okay? This is not even all one West persuasion Hebrew Israelites either.
This is 90% of one West.
I don't know. I would say 70%. I think is a fair estimate. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Hey, I apologize. But I genuinely, and this is me after being, and seeing for the last 10 years how people act within the community. I'm telling you from my experience that I believe upwards of 70% of so-called people within the one West Hebrew Israelite perspective believe just like this brother. And I'll say this, it's blasphemous. And I'm not saying that like word blasphemy as like how Stephen A. Smith says blasphemy. No, I literally mean it's heresy. It's a blasphemy.
Okay, let me play it.
Nonetheless, let me ask you this. If you found out you were an Israelite, would you still worship God?
Hell no.
If you found out you were an Israelite, would you still worship God?
Hell no.
That's a good question. He said, hell no?
No.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, here's why. Let me stop, because what you're doing by admitting that is that you value race over God.
No, I value my heritage over God, which you can call it race, and so what? That's what I want to do. No, I value my heritage over God, which you can call it race, and so what? That's what I want to do.
Disclaimer, he does not speak for all of Hebrew Israelites.
That's not funny. But the last little, you guys, if you believe that, seriously, if you are in agreement with him, you need to repent. Seriously, I'm like asking you, please, you need to fast and pray to God that He changes your heart. In Matthew 22, when the person comes up to Christ and says, "What is the greatest commandment?" In Matthew 22, he says, "Thou shalt love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength." This is the first and greatest commandment. The most important thing is God. Here's another thing. I'm going to quick sidebar. Priest, you ever heard people say the Bible is about the people of Israel? The Bible is about Israelites from Genesis to Revelation. You ever heard people say that? That's what the Bible is talking about. It's all about, this people. No, the Bible's about God. That's who the main character is in the Bible. The main character of the Bible is not Israel. Israel doesn't come into the Bible. The first Israelites isn't until Genesis chapter 40 something. So who was the main character? I thought the Bible said in the beginning, God. In the beginning, Bereshit, God. Not Bereshit, Yaakov, Israel, Jacob. God is the most important thing. And if you are in a position where you're putting anything even closely in position of, is it on par with God, you're a heretic, man. Straight up. You are worthy of idolatry, of being stoned. In ancient Israel, you would be killed for things like this. Anything you worship that's not God, you're worshiping yourself. You're worshiping a race that, let's now keep it really funky. You want to be totally honest? Let's be totally honest. Are we Israelites? Yes, we are. 100%. Are there some of us who might not be, who might have a great-great-grandfather that's not an Israelite? So you know how stupid you're going to look when you're saying, yeah, I value my race over my God, and your silly ass finds out that your great-great-grandfather's a white man? Now what? Now you're just going to give up on God? You didn't believe in God to begin with. If there's anything, what did Paul say in Romans chapter 8? Shall anything separate us from our God? No, but you're literally saying that if you found out that your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather wasn't black or Hispanic, that you would stop worshiping God. What?
Yeah. Let me answer this question. Somebody says, can I use a saved Gentile? Can I use a saved Gentile as a slave forever and his children, so on and so on? Let me just answer that with the Bible. Deuteronomy 10:18-19. He does execute the judgment of the fatherless and widow, and loveth the stranger, in giving him food and raiment. Love ye therefore the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. So I guess what I'm asking you is, would you say that that's loving the stranger like you love yourself?
Is that all people are focused on?
Is that loving the stranger like you love yourself? Is the question from Torah.
Like, do you guys want to? And I know it's a question, so we'll answer it. And I'm not trying to undignify your question, but you got to seriously call into question the sincerity. And I'm not saying that person necessarily, but a lot of people, they don't really love God. They just want to hurt Gentiles. They just hate specifically Europeans and other groups of people.
This nigga ain't never got a. Let me tell you something. This nigga ain't never even got a write up at his job before, and his boss is white. But he talking about enslaving some Gentile. Stop playing, my boy. You ain't never been late on your rent with your white landlord. You showing all 32 teeth to get that extra grace period. You kissing his boots to get grace for your late rent. Anyway, so somebody says, this is a good question right here. Deuteronomy 32:21. It says, he said, Romans 11:11. Who's that foolish nation provoking the Jews to jealousy? This is also something that I still believe that is dealing with the Babylonians. Why? Because the Bible says we looked at the Babylonians as they had the blessings of Deuteronomy 28. And they also are called a people that's not a people when you read Isaiah. But I could see how Paul could possibly apply it. That's something that I would have to look into, though. It's about God's relationship with the Israelites and our interaction with the nations.
Some of the Bible is about God's relationship with the Israelites, but to just say blanket, this is what the Bible is about God, period. Now, is it about other things? Sure. But what needs to be established first is this book is about the true God. Then you can start to, okay, and this and that.
Let me answer this question. Look at this person. Somebody just came on here and said, even Zion Lex, whose poll we were on about the Hebrew, told them their Gentile salvation is ridiculous now.
No, he didn't say that.
Zion Lex said he agrees with. Do you want me to play the clip? And he texted me that and told me to post the alien. He said to win you guys over with comedy, dummy. He's in full agreement with the. He just said maybe not full agreement.
No, bless his heart. We don't got to call him a dummy.
But
Brother,
he said he's in agreement with us. So your whole divide and conquer, no, he texted me that and told me to post it. So maybe with comedy, I can soften your guys' heart and you can see the truth. That's what he said to me. Thank you. Anyway, let's answer this question.
So the Gentiles are equal to us now? No, when did we say that?
Hold on, let's go in order. How long have we been thinking about salvation for Gentiles before we came forward with these beliefs? Well, about some years ago, I questioned if certain Gentiles, because we were only taught this by our elders starting in the 90s. Before that, our elders were teaching Gentile salvation. We got the proof. But when I seen like, man, the elders taught us to say, you see a Gentile, that's an Israelite. You see a stranger, that's an Israelite. You see a horse or a donkey, that's an Israelite. You see a stone, that's an Israelite. You see crack rock, that's an Israelite. So that's how the elders had taught us. So a few years back, maybe like 5 years, I began to say, this can't be, it's not.
In Acts 17, Paul goes to the High Council of Athens, Greece, and he tells all of them to repent. You're telling me everybody in the High Council in Athens, Greece, the birthplace of Western European civilization, they're all niggas there? The City Council of Detroit, Michigan isn't even all black. City Council of Atlanta isn't all black. The blackest damn town in Mississippi somewhere, the City Council probably is not even all black there. So you're going to tell me that when Paul's going to these Greek cities and telling, because he's talking, like, for example, in Acts 17 on Mars Hill, this is like Central Park, basically, or rather Times Square. He's telling all the people in Times Square to repent. There's not a point in time in which Times Square is all black. Shut up. Let me not say shut up. Sorry. Be serious.
Watch this.
It's just, the truth is just the truth, you guys. I didn't want it to be true either. I can empathize with a lot of y'all. I begged God for this not to be true. Literally in tears. Nope. I'm not even like, I'm dead serious. You guys can laugh. I literally cried praying to God, please don't let this be true. I hate these people. You can't save them. Look at all the horrible things that they've done to my people, and you're going to save these pieces. I was literally in my prayer said that. But now I have to ask myself, are all these people these degenerate, immoral monsters? No, they're not. And that's why I cited the one guy from earlier. Let me just read this guy's name, because we're gonna have to be serious here. Thomas Garrett. Let me read Thomas Garrett's story. I know I made mention of it earlier. It's crazy that I never even heard about this guy.
I'm gonna come back to Clubhouse in a second. I'll put a link in the chat because I want to answer some of these questions. I knew this was gonna happen. He's saying that when it says love the stranger, for you were strangers in Egypt, that's Israelites. Is there one scholar, white, black, Asian, or purple, from antiquity to now that would agree with your understanding of that? And also, why does it say because you were strangers in the land of Egypt? Why is it juxtaposing these, saying that, oh, well, you were in a foreign land amongst foreign people. Therefore, when people come to your foreign land amongst you as foreigners, treat them and love them. Come on, bro. You sound crazy. All right, let's see. How is the Samaritan woman Israel based off that point? Okay, good. Let's get this smoke. All right. So you said that this law is talking about Israelites?
From my understanding, no, it could be.
Okay. Do you have one scholar from antiquity or till now that would substantiate your argument?
I wouldn't need one. It wouldn't matter.
Oh, so you're the authority of academics when it comes to the Bible?
Are they?
Yes, they are.
Based off what?
Based off of studying, based off the transmission of the text, based off of how first century Israelite historians viewed it. Philo and Josephus did not agree with your understanding. The early church fathers, the disciples did not agree with your
Okay, and a
understanding.
lot of first century historians didn't agree with Silo,
So,
etc.
okay,
That
so
doesn't
just
really
to
matter.
be clear, you're above all scholars who say that. What about Zion Lex and Divine Prospect? They wouldn't agree with you on this. What about, are
No,
they your
you're trying to act like I'm acting like I'm above them. I could care less what they believe.
okay? So then who are you to say what the text actually means when you have nobody to even substantiate? You don't even have a peer that would agree with you.
That can go for everybody who disagrees with certain doctrines you have. Who are you to, you know what I mean?
No,
What are you trying to
no,
say? What does that even
no.
mean?
I'm part of the majority here on this. So what is the relevance of
The
him saying
majority
for you were
believes in Gentile
strangers?
salvation.
What is the relevance of him saying for you were strangers in Egypt?
Well, from my understanding, that would be speaking of Israelite strangers, but from my understanding, it could be speaking of what you're speaking. I would just say it
Are
would
you
be
one West?
some sort of a no, not necessarily.
What is God's name?
I don't know.
What is his son's name?
I don't know. I was at the former belief that it was Yahweh Shai Yahweh, but I
Okay,
don't
Yahweh
necessarily
Yahweh.
agree with that.
Okay. So do you think that did you know that the people who you learned the names from actually taught Gentile salvation?
I don't necessarily disagree with
How do you feel
Gentile
about that though?
salvation. I feel like
Okay.
they get a lesser. I feel like they get a lesser form of salvation.
Okay. So what is the okay, I agree with you with I don't
I
want to I
I
agree with
simply
you on
have like
that.
problems with like it though. Although I believe they get a lesser form of salvation, I have problems with like certain things. Like
Here's where we would disagree at. You're taking salvation to be the positions and rewards in the kingdom. I'm not.
yeah,
I get what you're saying though. Salvation comes to who the world calls Christ. That's being saved from the wrath of God. All we're saying is that Gentiles who believe, just like our elders, Gentiles who believe and cleave, just like the apostles say, just like the prophets say, Gentiles who believe and cleave can escape the lake of fire and their nations going into
what if
captivity.
what if one makes the argument that the 100-year lifespan is like a curse from God?
Well, then I would say the Gentiles that believe are not a part of that curse.
Oh, you believe Gentiles can be a part of the new covenant?
The new covenant is not made with them, but if they're joined to us, then they can benefit from the new covenant. Just like when they were joined to us, they were benefiting in the old covenant, they were there and they were benefiting from the old covenant.
So there will be Gentiles who won't believe in the kingdom?
Yes, and those ones will be they will have to go through that 1,000 years of captivity. But afterwards, everybody will believe. They're going to be forced to.
Well, I'm saying like, well, that wouldn't like. So are you saying every Gentile who's saved will be a part of the new covenant,
Every Gentile
like
who repents,
automatically?
every Gentile who repents right now, they can't wait
Hmm.
till then. Every Gentile that repents right now, they're grafted in unto us. So the covenant is made with the Israelites, but they get to partake in it because they're joined to us. They can't independently be a part of it. They have to go through us and cleave to us and be grafted into us. Galatians chapter 4 tells you that.
So I would have to look into that. I don't necessarily have a stance of agreements or disagreements, but like a real problem I had was like Leviticus 25 and 45 or 6. It
Good
talks
question.
about it talks about the nations around you, and it talks about those who are who's like currently residing with you, like as if like they're living in a land with you, that you're allowed
Mm-mm.
to take them
Well,
as a
it doesn't say that. So let me show you why people say that. In Leviticus chapter 25, it says the nations that are round about. It's not saying to enslave a Gentile who wants to worship God and cleave to Israel. He's not saying that. He's saying the nations that are round about you, you can go get them from a slave market outside the land,
If
and then you
if
can
I'm not
have
mistaken,
them.
it also says those who are residing among you.
No, it doesn't. You got to show me the text that says that. Leviticus 25 says roundabout.
Oh, well, so those are for you would argue that those are for specific Gentiles who don't worship the Most High.
Yes, but also those who are outside of the land. That's why it says the nations roundabout.
Okay, and let's say a Gentile does worship the Most High and doesn't live in the land. Would it be a sin for me to enslave that Gentile?
That he does worship the
Yeah,
that he does worship the Most High, but he lives outside of the land.
yeah. Does he have to live in the land to worship the Most High?
No, he doesn't, because we see Naaman, he leaves our land and goes back to his land, and he still, is worshiping our God. So I
Yeah.
would say no. Anybody who is trying to take hold of the covenant, they're still taking hold of the covenant. What is the covenant? The law, statutes, and commandments. Any Gentile that's taking hold of the covenant, then the law is clear on how we treat them. But let me get some of these other brothers on. I'm glad you came on, and I pray that
I'm
you
still.
find your way and your understanding.
I'm still looking for different perspectives and viewpoints on things. I really want your type of breakdowns on like them joining in on our covenants, etc. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So after Passover, this presentation that you seen before, there's about 250 more slides.
That's good.
I'm talking
look
about
into
a
it.
500 round clip, never been seen of or heard of or been done before. So we love you and appreciate you, brother. Shalom.
I appreciate.
All right. Theodore, what's up, brother?
What's up? Hey, do I gotta bring smoke or can I ask a question?
You can add whatever you want to do.
Oh, okay, cool. I asked my question in the chat, so y'all can ignore it. So I know, like, I'm with this new understanding, and I appreciate y'all because I know it take a lot to even, come out with this type of truth, especially with the backlash that y'all receive. But I still struggle with, like, okay, so like in Romans 11 or Acts 10:34, right? Like those two passages, in a sense, talk about the equality that, Gentiles are so-called having. Like in Acts 10:34, it says no respect of persons. And then in Acts 11, it says we take part in the same root. So then, like, if we saying these passages are about Gentiles, which I can agree, how can we then say that they're not equal to us?
Mm-hmm. So let me make my officer a moderator real quick. Kasha, y'all, I just got your text message. Let me see where's your comment at so I can make you a moderator. Let me see. I gotta go. Kasha, y'all, make another comment real quick, and then I'll make you moderator. There you go. All right. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Okay, my apologies. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, no, I was just asking. So, like, for instance, like in Romans 11, I know the new breakdown that y'all been teaching, which I can get with, is talking about how the Gentiles take part in the same root. Or I know that y'all said, like, Acts 10 is about Cornelius, who was an actual Gentile being saved, and it says that there's no respecter of persons. So my question is, like, how can it be no respecter of persons? How are they taking the same? How are they partaking in the same root
Mhm.
but yet they're not equal to us though. Like, how
Mhm.
can we prove that with scripture? Because if I'm talking to a Christian, you know, I don't want to get my head slaughtered. They go to Acts 10:34 and say there's no respect of persons, but I can't really combat that, you know, and say no, they're still not equal to us though, you know.
So when the phrase "respect the person" is used, you have to deal with the context. Sometimes it's used in judgment. So it's saying like if two Moabites get caught committing adultery in our land, they're gonna have to die like two Israelites committing adultery in our land. That's why it says no respect the person in judgment. Then in
Okay.
Acts 10 is saying no respect the person when it comes to what? That salvation. That has nothing to do with the hierarchy in the kingdom of heaven. So if you just isolate that verse and abuse the context, one can make that argument. But we have the rest of the Bible and we have context. And what do we see even in the prophecies? We're not serving them, they're serving us. We're not bringing our riches and glory to them. They're bringing their riches and glory to us. We're not bowing to them, they're bowing to us. They're not the light, we're the light. We're not going to them to teach the law, they're coming to us to teach the law. We're not grabbing their skirt and going with them and saying God is with you. They're grabbing our skirt and coming with us and saying God is with y'all. And then even if you want to look at Romans 11, in Romans chapter 11, when it says they don't bear the root, but the root bears them, that's because the root is dealing with the promises. And you find Gentile inclusion within the promises. That's why it says the root bears them, meaning the patriarchs. There was some promise to the patriarchs, especially Abraham. If you bless Israel, if they bless your seed, they'll be blessed, and then you shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So that's how they can partake in the root from that manner. But it says they don't bear the root. Why? They're not natural descendants. And even if you look in verse 18, I believe it says, don't boast against the natural branches. So we can boast on them and say, we're the chosen people, we're Israelites. That shows hierarchy right there. That shows that it's not non-equivocal right there, but they can't boast against us. It doesn't tell us not to boast. So that's what I would say if somebody asked me that question.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, that was just something I was struggling with. So I appreciate that, you know, breaking that down for me, man.
Yeah.
Y'all
Go
keep
back.
doing what y'all doing.
And we also, on the new presentation, we answer those equality questions too. So that should be out, Lord willing, a few days after Passover.
All right, cool. Appreciate you.
Okay, shalom, brother.
Shalom.
All right. Hey, whoever you were, whoever was waiting in the back, click the link again. I accidentally moved you out. Let's take a look at the chat. Somebody said Gentiles don't have to cleave to us. The Bible says that they have to cleave to the Israelites. So you would be disagreeing with the Bible. There you go. Out of mind. Hopefully I'm saying that right. What's up, brother?
What's good, man? Peace, y'all.
What's going on?
Yeah, I was listening to you. You was talking to the other brother, the first one you had up. Um, you said that there was a slave market for Leviticus 25, right? When they when they go and get their servants, the Israelites, when the Israelites were going to get their servants. Where do you see a slave market?
According to Leviticus 25, when you look at commentary and scholars, it's just logic because it says the nations that are round about. So what happened when, because we know we can't, unless you're saying we can kidnap, but the Bible says don't kidnap.
Mm-hmm.
So
No.
that's why I'm coming to the conclusion that it was more than likely, I'm not saying absolute, but it was more than likely slave markets outside the land. Nevertheless, it doesn't say while we're in the land, it does say the nations round about.
Yeah. I mean, the last time I was up here, I was chopping it up with Hassad about Exodus 21 and the Hebrew servant. So I wanted to see what you thought about Leviticus 25 and 47 when it says that the stranger could wax rich, right? And if an Israelite sells himself to that stranger, he could be bought back from one of his kinsmen. So if that's the case, what law would this particular stranger be keeping when he has an Israelite as his servant? Would it be Exodus 21, where it speaks of a Hebrew servant? You understand what I'm asking,
Mhm.
Deacon?
Yeah, let me see. You said, okay, 47. If a foreigner
Hmm.
residing among you becomes rich, and any of your fellow Israelites become poor and sell themselves to the foreigner or to a member of the foreign's clan, they retain the right of redemption, and they have sold themselves. One of their relatives may redeem them. I don't. I don't think this has anything to do with Exodus 21, because Exodus 21 is about Hebrews owning Hebrews. So I
Yes,
think
and
this would be
that's
a separate law.
mhm. Yeah. So, what would they, go by? What would this particular stranger abide by? The only law that speaks of servitude, right, is that Exodus 21. So it's like, wouldn't it would be
Oh, okay. I got what you're saying. I get what you're saying. The fact that it's a foreigner living amongst us, then they
right,
probably would have to go by Exodus 21.
right,
Yeah,
right. So now, if that's the case, Deacon,
it's priest, by the way.
priest, I'm sorry.
You're good.
If that's the case, are they now also as a non-Israelite who is obviously in covenant? Um, is he allowed to place a all in another Israelite's ear and say, "Yo, you can stay with me"? Could you see where I'm going with it?
Right.
That's why. That's why I take the.
If
That's why
that's
I
the
take.
case, that's a cut off. Listen, if that is the case, that's a cut. But I don't want to say for sure yet. I got to look into it.
But see, that's why I would say no though. I would say no though
Why not?
because of the Hebrew servitude based off of inheritance. Hold
So
on, let
you
me just say it though, priest.
go ahead.
The 6 years shows us in Exodus 21. The 6 years shows us that this is the way to have people as hired servants. This is the way to have them in contract. But in consideration of an Israelite, we know that he has to abide by the Jubilee. The Jubilee isn't for a non-Israelite who is converted.
One
You
second.
see?
One second. One second. Hassad, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I've been on YouTube. I had to. It was just it's too much going on both apps, so I had to
Okay.
turn it down. But I got a brother on right now. You was talking to him before, and
Because check this out real quick. Let me just go here real quick. Jeremiah.
let me just try to catch Hassan up. The brother's making a point about the non-Israelite who resides amongst us, and if he gets rich and he takes one of us, our relatives could come and buy us out of that. But I'm kind of lost on the what you're trying to say. So let me just let you say it, brother. Make sure you can hear him, Hassan.
Yeah.
Hassad, you there? You can hear me?
Yes.
So with I don't know if you remember the conversation we had. We was talking about Exodus 21 and just how to buy a servant. And I was making a point that Exodus 21 and Leviticus 25 are very similar with the language when we see buying a heathen or buying a servant. So what I just asked priest, I asked him, I said, in Leviticus 25:47, we see that the stranger can have Israelite servants. Once an Israelite waxes poor and the Israelite or the non-Israelite servant waxes rich. So I asked priest, I said, what law would the non-Israelite stranger keep when he has this Israelite in servitude? Would it be the Exodus 21? Right? And could the non-Israelite also practice the all to where he could keep this Israelite in his, you know, for forever, as the text says. If I'm a non-Israelite and Hassad, you become my servant, and I say, hey, I'm gonna give you a wife, but you got to stay with me, and I'm gonna place this all in your ear. Does that now work, or what law does the non-Israelite use to have Hebrew servants?
There is a what is it? They are my servants. One second. I think that is that in Leviticus 25. Matter of fact, Leviticus 25 and verse 40. 7. I'm trying to read. 1 second. Here we go. Verse 53. It says, I'm reading it in the NLT. It says, the foreigner must treat them as workers hired on a yearly basis. This is the law that they would keep. It says the foreigner must treat them, the Israelite who is maybe falls into poverty or he owes a debt, so now he has to serve this Gentile that lives amongst us. The foreigner must treat them as workers hired on a yearly basis, not as a perpetual servant. You must not allow a foreigner to treat any of your fellow Israelites harshly. If any Israelites have not been bought back by the time the year of Jubilee arrives, they and their children must be set free at that time. They cannot serve. It's illegal for them to put us in a perpetual servitude. We have to be let go at latest by the year of Jubilee. Why? For the people of Israel belong to me. They are my servants whom I brought out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So no, in Exodus 21, that
Mhm.
wouldn't apply to a Gentile who waxes rich amongst us. They cannot perpetually have us in servitude to them. They can for a
Okay.
time to pay off a debt or for some money, etc. But a Israelite is not allowed to serve a Gentile in perpetuity.
In regards of the all
Exodus 21.
being placed in the ear of someone, you would still hold the position that the all is only for the purpose of another Israelite. If I'm a Judite, you're a Gadite,
Yes.
and I come to you as a Gadite, and I say, hey, I want to serve you because you have a beautiful woman that live, she's a maidservant. I love her. Place
Yes.
this all in my ear. Hold on. Place this all in my ear. Hold on, Hassan. I got a bunch of noise in the back. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Place this all in my ear, Hassan, so I could live with you, and you could keep my children as your inheritance. But I'm a Judite. You're telling me that this should be allowed? This makes sense. This is logic to you, and there's no contradiction in regards of the Jubilee, because if I place this all in my ear, I still have my father's land back in Judah. I still
Yes.
have my land. So what? I don't see how this is not a contradiction to where another Israelite is allowed to place alls in the ear of another Israelite. I have land back in my, you know what I'm saying? You can't grant me. Hold on, let me just say this though, Hazak. You can't grant me the Jubilee at this point. It contradicts the law of the Jubilee. So this it
No,
has
no, it doesn't at all. But it's very clear in Leviticus 25, verse 55. For unto me the children of Israel are servants. We aren't supposed to be in perpetual servitude to any nation. That's not what's supposed to happen. Now, again, if there is a case where a Gentile waxes rich amongst us and there is an Israelite who serves him, that can happen, but not in perpetuity. That is not what Exodus 21 is referring to at all.
no, but I'm saying in regards of Jubilee though, with this Exodus 21, this all in the ear of an Israelite. If you do this at this point, I can't go back to my land because I gotta serve you forever, Hassad. I gotta serve you
Yeah,
forever.
I don't think you're listening to my answer, though, brother. Exodus 21 is an Israelite dealing with another Israelite. Leviticus
I
25,
heard,
non-Israelite
uh-huh.
dealing with an Israelite. It's period. It's clear.
But Hassad, you're not responding to my point.
I'm
You're
100%
not.
responding to your point.
This is a okay. So in Jeremiah 34:10 it says, "Now when all the princes and the people which had entered into the covenant heard that everyone should let his manservant and everyone his maidservant go free, that none should serve themselves of them anymore, then they obeyed and let them go." Now, Hassad, when it says the princes and all the people, how would you
Numbers,
exegete that?
Numbers 31. What
No,
verse?
Jeremiah 34:10.
Okay. And what's the question?
It says, when all the princes and all the people, because this is talking about when the Jews were keeping their bond servants, right? And they wouldn't let them go free, right? I'm sure you're familiar with this. So at 34:10, it says, now when all the princes and all the people which had entered into the covenant, who is the princes and who is the people? Because at this point, I would assume
It'll be like
that the
our
princes are obviously the 12 tribes of Israel, all the sons of Israel who have the inheritance, who have the rights to buy servants. And then the people are actually non-Israelites who also have servants.
no. So let's just read.
How would you exegete that?
Let's read some.
Maybe
Let's just
I'm wrong.
Yep. Jeremiah 34 and starting at verse 8. This is the word that came unto Jeremiah from
You
the
there,
Lord.
Hassan? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Hold up.
Damn, I can't hear anything.
Okay,
All right.
wait, hold
Yeah, I
on.
still can't hear nothing.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear now, bro? Hello. YouTube, can you guys hear me? YouTube, can you guys hear me?
Everybody in Clubhouse, I'm sure, can
Hey,
hear
he
you.
muted himself. Hey, bro, you're muted. You gotta unmute yourself. He just logged off. He's gonna come back on.
All right. Well, I'll read it again when he gets back. But for the chat, Jeremiah 34 and 8, right? So this is a message to Jeremiah from the Lord, right? And then in verse 9, look what it says. That every man should let his manservant and every man his maidservant, being a Hebrew or in Hebress, meaning Israelite man or Israelite woman, go free, that none should serve himself of them, to wit, of a Jew his brother. These are Israelites that have other Israelites in servitude. Then it goes on to say, now when all the princes and all the people which had entered into the covenant. What covenant? To free all of their people that they have in servitude. The princes right here would be like the rulers of our people. But these are our people nonetheless. Like captain or general or governor, etc.
So, Assad, I wasn't able to hear everything. You said when it's obviously the princes are Israel, but when it says all the people, you said who are all the people?
Those are Israelites as well. The princes will be like the rulers, like a governor is a ruler or a senator is a ruler, and then the people would just be the average and everybody else basically.
Wait. What do you mean by everybody else, though, Hassad?
Yeah, every other Israelite, not the ones that are in power and like a prince, a commoner, a regular citizen. How we know that these are Israelites, though, is verse 9. Look, it says, to wit, of a Jew, his brother. That's a racial thing.
Yeah, but if you're to love the stranger as yourself, you loving him as a brother.
But he's not yourself. That's the point. He's not your
Interesting.
race. He's not your race, but you still treat him amicably, like you would treat another member of your race. But he's not your race. So
I
to a
got
Jew
you.
brother, it's still a very descriptive thing.
I got one more last scripture for you. Ezekiel 46:17. But if he give a gift of his inherit, hold on, let me go to 16.
The prince.
Thus say the Lord, thus say the Lord God, Ezekiel 46:16. Thus say the Lord God, if the prince give a gift unto any of his sons, the inheritance thereof shall be his sons. It shall be their possession by inheritance. But if he give a gift of his inheritance to one of his servants, then it shall be his to the year of liberty. Who's the servant?
It doesn't specify.
You wouldn't assume that it's a non-Israelite servant?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't say. I mean, because to this extent, in Revelation 22, it says that we will all be servants of Christ. So this doesn't specify whether this is an Israelite or not.
Hey man, listen, Hassad, I appreciate y'all. Same for you, priest. I appreciate y'all letting me. I'm a come back with some more scriptures and really just have it really mapped out. I really wanted to just reach out to you, Asad, and see if we could actually just like sit down with it, and just have like a little discussion about it, because I got a lot more scriptures and a lot more points that I could just if you down, I could put you back to the fence.
DM me
Pause.
on
Pause.
Instagram or DM me on Instagram or Facebook, and I can shoot you my phone number, brother. I'm always open to talk about the Bible.
Okay. Shalom, y'all. Peace.
Oh, shalom, brother.
Okay.
All right, we got another brother, Zahar. Go ahead.
So back to what I was saying earlier. So you would agree that for Israelites to be sojourn with us in our land, they would have to be keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, correct?
You mean a Gentile?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I was saying earlier in Leviticus 25 and 44, it talks about the nations around you, and in Leviticus 25 and 45, it talks about the Gentiles who are in our land and the families that they have and the children that they begot in our land, that we're still allowed to have them as slaves. So I would have a question like, how would you interpret that? Like, for instance, in
Yeah.
the kingdom, for a saved Gentile that's in our land with us, that begots a family, etc.
Okay, let me make sure I understand your question. Before I do, well, matter of fact, I don't want to ask you a question to answer a question. So let me just first answer a question. I'll ask you a question in response.
That's fine.
Leviticus 25 is very specific. These are not Gentiles who are joined to the people of Israel. These are the heathen that are round about us. These are the surrounding nations. It doesn't say that these are Gentiles who have joined to us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in Leviticus 25 and 45, it says that in Leviticus 25 and 44, it talks about the nations around you.
Yeah, I'm look at my screen, brother. Let me know if you can see my screen. Look what it says. For your male and female slaves are to
No, I
come from
can't.
the nations. You can't see?
Nah.
Oh, wait, what the hell? Bruh.
Unless I'm reading a translation that just
Okay,
went
there we go. You
ahead.
see that?
Yeah, I can't now.
Okay, so it says your male and female slaves. And look at this version, Hassad. Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. Now, 45 is what he's asking. You may
Yeah.
also buy some of the temporary residents. So again, these are not Gentiles who want to stay, cleave, and worship the Lord and keep our laws, statutes, and commandments. These are nations from roundabout or temporary residents passing through. You can buy them. But somebody who is converting, the Bible says to love them like you love yourself. If you wanted to land back on that, go ahead, Assad.
Yeah, real quick. It's kind of similar, and I want to say this too. I made mention of something a while back that I said is similar in Islam, and someone tried to say, "Oh, what you're trying to say that Islam is comparable with the?" No, but let me give some context. There's a hadith in which the people of Israel that were around Arabia at the time, we nicknamed Muhammad the ear. We called him the ear because he would just repeat, he would believe everything he heard, which is why Islam is nothing but Judaism, so-called Christianity, and other, Near Eastern religions merged into one to make Islam. Why do I bring that up? I bring that up because even in Islam, if you go conquer a people and one of the people converts to Islam, you cannot enslave that person. If they're a Muslim, you cannot enslave them. And if they are a slave and they convert to Islam, you have to let them go. Similarly, in where did he get this practice? We got this practice from us. A Gentile joins to us, we're not enslaving him. That's why you see Gentiles who are joined to us, we don't enslave them. But these Gentiles who are not joined to us,
Hold up, you cut out.
because, like, for example, the nations that are round about you, that would specifically be the Canaanites. Now, it wouldn't exclusively be them, but that would be the number one nation that's around us. Now, Uriah the Hittite is not a slave. He's in our land. Rahab and her family, they were not slaves. These are all Canaanite nations. As a matter of fact, we entered into a brotherly covenant with Tyre at one point, with King Hiram, who's a Canaanite. There are several examples of Canaanites dwelling amongst our lands. What is the one? What's it? The threshing floor? You know what I'm talking about, priest?
No.
the Canaanite who was at the threshing floor, David. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'll get the
But
scripture in a moment.
let the brother get a chance to respond to what you're saying.
Well, I came up with that conclusion of
Okay.
with that answer. But I'm still looking into like I still want y'all full perspective on how they'll join a new covenant, etc. But you know, I don't have a stance on it. But another thing, so
Go ahead.
like say this was mm, uh before well, essentially I will be able to use it right now. So say like that law during, let's say like 600 years ago, and someone tried to use that law on a Gentile who's not trying to worship the Most High. Let's say they are using that law for like 5 years. Can the slave want to worship the Most High, and I would have to stop?
Okay, let me make sure I understand what you're saying. Let's say you enslave somebody that's a Gentile who is not joined to us, and then they convert essentially. Do you have to let
Yeah,
them go?
if they wanted to convert.
Good question. That's the natural question then, based on what I said.
Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't Moses use this law on a Gentile?
Enslaving them?
I believe it was
I
Moses.
can't recall him doing that. No, but
Hmm.
there's either, I guess, maybe one or two ways. Either the answer would be yes, or the answer would be no. But I don't, because then how do you measure what if they're sincere or not? By circumcising them? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, brother. To be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it may be too
I
late.
would lean towards no, though. I would lean towards no, or maybe to your discretion if you free them or not. I'm not sure.
That's fine. And the one last question. Let's say for like Muslims, back to the topic of Muslims, do you believe that they worship a completely different God than us?
Absolutely, they worship a completely different God than us.
So none of them will be able to be, it will be completely too late for child, man, woman, elder who's never heard of the Most High from our perspective. It'll be completely too late for them when the time comes.
Okay, you're saying on Judgment Day, what if somebody's never heard the truth about God?
Well, what of a Muslim from like, you know what I mean? But they,
If
because I
anyone
would say a Muslim's interpretation
outside
of,
the God of Israel through the Messiah,
repeat
it's the
that.
God of Islam is a completely separate God. There is no hope for anyone that does not worship the true God of the Bible.
Yeah, which I agree with that. Well, that's really all I had to ask. Shalom.
All praise to the Most High. If you got any other questions, just let us know, brother.
All right. Well,
All right,
this is a short question, but y'all don't have a new like a new name that you discovered from text or etc.
The Hebrew for the
Yeah,
Most High in the name of His Son.
yeah.
No, I don't have a. Well, it's when I've spoken to a few brothers concerning the name of the Most High. There's a couple brothers who asked me to not say the name. Zion likes asked me, so I won't give the utterance of the tetragrammaton that he gave me. But one thing I will say is, in all that I've researched myself and spoken to other brothers who speak Hebrew, Yahweh it is a proper enunciation of the tetragrammaton. It is. Now the difference would be, the diacritic marks and how you're supposed to really enunciate it, but that is a proper way of enunciating Yod He Vav He, those four characters.
There's some small nuances, such as it being spelled YEHAWA.
Yeah, like Yehovah,
Right.
or Yo, but nonetheless, the utterance of Yahweh, it's not like no one could really say that that's just bugged out or crazy from what I've seen. Now, concerning the son's name being Yahushai, I don't even think, and hey, if I'm wrong, then I'd love to be corrected. But I don't even think, and I even heard Zion Lux break it down, it's not even grammatically correct using Lashon Kodash.
Yeah.
So, and what's interesting, this is the one thing that I found extremely interesting in all this. Virtually every single, except for two, brothers that know Hebrew that I've spoken to, and even a couple Gentiles that I spoke to that know Hebrew, they all give pretty much a little different utterance of the name of the Most High. Some of them were vastly different.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the name of the Son, they were all it was all unanimously consensus. They all agreed, everyone unanimously. Not one person disagreed that the actual correct utterance of the Son's name is Yeshua. Maybe some put a ye or yay or yah. Someone might say it's Yeshua or Yahshua. Nonetheless, that's the consensus, is Yeshua and its different utterances of the name of the Son. No one that I spoke to said Yahushai. I have yet to see a scholar say anything about Yahushai. I have yet to see any archaeological evidence of Yahushai. I've seen zero of it. None, literally whatsoever, in the most absolute sense of none whatsoever. Zero.
Matter of fact, we got Judah the Shooter in the chat right now who will whoop anybody watching on Clubhouse or YouTube with the Hebrew. Just had to put that out there. Okay. Let's see.
That was I'll be looking forward to your breakdowns on all these themes though, because right now I'm just completely open-minded since like majority of my doctrinal beliefs kind of changed with you guys.
Oh, praise
Well, I wouldn't say,
Because I did learn
I
most of my
that came
knowledge
from
from you.
nature too, brother. Don't just change what you believe in because of what of us. Like I know.
Of course, I'm very smart and open-minded. Like I would know if something's completely incorrect. Like that's why I'm not
Follow what's true, brother. If I ever teach something that's not right, don't follow it. You know what I mean?
I know that, but
Follow what's true.
of course I'm I'm not just gonna go with you because I've learned from you basically essentially all of my knowledge of the Bible from you. But I'm going to like question it, of course. But the things you teach, I don't necessarily disagree with. Maybe the way we interpret whether or not they have lesser salvation, that's probably the only thing I would disagree with. But anything else, I really don't disagree with. But I'm looking forward to like your breakdowns, etc. And I'm
Zahar,
still
a brother who knows Hebrew wants to come up here real quick, and then so just stay on here. Yeah, Judah
all
the
right.
Shooter, you can
That's fine.
Judah the Shooter come up here real quick, and then while we wait for Judah the Shooter, let me get Hezekiah. Hey Hezekiah, what's going on?
I'll wait.
Oh, it's Ronan. What's up, Ronan? How did you find me? I changed names. I changed camp names. I changed clothes. I wear a button up and glasses now. I'm on a whole different YouTube, and you still found me.
I found you through that white woman.
Okay, we'll come up in a second. Okay, Zahar, I got my brother Judah the Shooter up here.
Yo, Shalom. What's going on? Shalom.
Shalom, brother.
No doubt. I first want to tell you and Hassad, man, keep doing what y'all doing, man. Keep y'all foot on their necks, man. I really love to see what you brothers is doing, man. And I give all praise and glory and honor to the Most High, man. It's a beautiful thing to see you brothers standing tall in this. You know what I'm saying? That's why, sometimes you already know I'll text you, check in on you, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you're good. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely want to give you brothers y'all flowers.
No, and I appreciate you too. Listen, when you hit me, I was struggling to get out of bed. I only got out of bed to do this class.
Yeah. So I said, man, let me hit the brother up and check on him. You know what I'm saying? I don't have Hassad's information, but if I do one day, there'll be a brother I'll definitely check on too. You know what I'm saying? So
Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. But to the brother, peace and blessings, Zahar.
Peace and blessings.
Hassad made a wonderful point. When he mentioned that those who read Hebrew, we all unanimously agree with the name Yeshua. Now, in Hebrew, we have something called plane versus defective. All right. And this is the only thing I'll add to what Hassad is saying. So plane is full form, defective is short form. Think of it like Michael versus Mike, Daniel versus Dan, Christopher versus Chris. So if somebody came up and said, well, his name is Dan, no, his name is Daniel, both of them would be correct, right, Zar?
Zahar, you there?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, I was saying that if
You hear me?
somebody,
All right.
yeah, if somebody was saying that, well, his name is Dan, and somebody said Daniel, they both referring to the same person. They both would be correct, right?
Yeah, that's relative.
Yeah. So it's the same way in Hebrew. So the full
That'd be
form to say,
correct. Yeah.
who we call Jesus, the full form to say his name would be Yehoshua, which is Joshua. But in the defective form, the short form, it would be Yeshua. So in the Hebrew New Testament, which I do have one here, I'll read it. Line 1 says, this is how line 1 will read in Matthew 1:1. It says, Sefer Tadot Yeshua HaMashiach ben David ben Avraham. So Sefer is what you know as a book. Todot is it lineage or generation. Then we have Yeshua, which is obviously who we call Jesus. HaMashiach, the Messiah. Then it says Ben David, the son of David, Ben Avraham, the son of Abraham. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of want to come up and add to that point. The brother is correct. Everybody who knows Hebrew would definitely say Yeshua. So, and so you heard somebody say Yehoshua, they're saying the same thing. It's just that one is the full form, the other is the short form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, praises.
So do you have a YouTube channel, like you specifically, going
Yeah.
over
Yes. Judah the Shooter. That's
actual
my,
Hebrew dialect?
yes. Pretty much all of my videos, I'm either going into the Hebrew language or the Greek text. Both of them.
Okay.
I like both languages. Almost equally, almost. But nonetheless, yeah, I do.
That's
We
great.
got we got some smoke from you.
I'm definitely as soon as
we
I
got
get
some
off of this,
smoke
I'm
for
gonna
you.
look at it.
Huh?
We got some smoke for you, Judah the Shooter, on Clubhouse.
Oh snap!
The brother says all them V sounds ain't original to the Hebrew. I'll tell you that.
Well, so when we have the letter of Vav, that's more than likely to what he's referring to. The Vav in the sixth letter in Hebrew, it does make a V or a what sound. It's one of the only ones I definitely agree with. I do not agree with the Lashawan Kodash dialect, which of course was created in the 1960s and 70s. But what I will say is this to the brother that's saying that even though we might not agree on dialect, one thing for certain, two things for sure, the meaning does not change. You know what I'm saying? So if I said Genesis 1:1 was Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'etzaretz, he may read it as Barasha'ah bara Alahayim av hashamayim wa av ha'aratazah. We have the same meaning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. You know what I'm saying? So even in the Bible, when we look at Judges, the 12th chapter, you know what I'm saying, verse 4 and 5, dealing with Sibolek versus Shibolek, we've always had different dialects, but the meaning does not change. You know what I'm saying? So to the brother that's saying that, or maybe to I'm not sure who it is, as long as we're not going off with the meaning, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of really why I stand at with it. Because at the same time, if somebody says Yahweh ba Shema Mashiach Yahweh, even though it's bad grammar, I know who they're referring to. You know what I'm saying? So, and I know the intent of it. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're not really saying something like Ahaya, now you're going too far with that one. You know what I'm saying? Because that's another topic though. But if there's any Ahaya people in the comment section that want to engage in it, I'll tell you why. But nonetheless, that one's kind of going too far with it. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, I know who you're talking about, brother, when you say Yahweh, even though I don't agree with that dialect. You know what I'm saying? But hey, nonetheless, we keep the commandments. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm in, and I'll end with this point. If I'm in Exodus 20, verse 1, and it says, Elohim you would know that as, and God spake all these words, saying, Anaki Yehovah Elohecha, asher hozitika meres Mizraim be'avadim. He would know it as, I'm the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Lo yelecha Elohim arim al panaya. You shall have no other gods before me. Verse 4 says, Lo ta'aselecha feselva kartamuna, asher ba shamayim ma'al v'asher ba'aretz mitzakat v'asher b'mayim mitzakala aretz. He would know it as, you shall not bow down to you. You should not bow down to you, nor make any graven or sculptured image or any likeness of anything that's in heaven above, or that's in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters underneath the earth. So we still coming with the same meaning. We just got different accents with it. You know what I'm saying? So keep the
Oh,
commandments to live.
that's right. And that ain't nothing but my son over there, my little bad kid over there on Clubhouse. Gadol, my little son Gadol.
Yeah.
But all praises, y'all. All praises to the Most High. Let's see. We got any more questions in the chat before we go on and close out? Zahar, I appreciate you. Judah the Shooter, I appreciate you. Let them know where they can find you at.
Yeah, no doubt. You all can find me at youtube.com/Judah the Shooter. That's JUDAHDASHOOTAH. I just released a book called King James on Trial, which is clearing up a lot of the false rumors about King James, how they say that he was a devil worshiper because he wrote the book Demonology in 1597. They say he was a homosexual because of the false rumors with George Villiers, aka the Duke of Buckingham, and Robert Carr. Some say Esme Stewart. So I'm going and clearing up a lot of the rumors that they've spread about King James. Having men in his room, in his bed. You know what I'm saying? So I just released the book King James on Trial. I've published 8 books. These books can be found at mytrueheritage.com. And last but not least, I do got 4 books on polygyny because I do believe in polygyny. I have 7 wives. I've been polygynous 23 years now. So I got 4 polygynous books that can be found at propolybook.com. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All praise to the Most High. So I'm going to let him go, but I'm going to answer some of these questions. I see some pretty good questions for me in the chat. We love you, Judah the Shooter, and we'll tap in, brother.
You already know. Shalom, shalom.
All praises. Okay. Hassad, any questions on the Clubhouse?
No, I don't see any questions.
Okay, so we got a couple questions saying, can you explain why there are no verses displaying Gentiles getting beamed in the chariot from Mystery Babylon?
Oh, that's a pretty easy answer, because there are. In Revelation 18, it says, "Come up out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins." Who are his people? Zechariah 2. Zechariah 2 says, in the day of salvation, salvation is going to take place in Babylon and all other places. In the day of salvation, many Gentiles, this is Zechariah 2 and 11, shall be joined to the Lord in that day and shall be his people. Ruth, I think it's 2. Your people shall be my people, my God, your God, or your God, my God.
That's on the new presentation.
Joined to Israel have always been accredited as his people. So the verses that speak about Israel being delivered, particularly in Revelation 18. Matter of fact, to keep it a buck, Revelation 18 doesn't specify whether these are Israelites or Gentiles. Why? Because it doesn't need to, because the author of Revelation understands that it's both. Because he's coming to deliver who? The body of Christ, which is comprised of both Jews and Gentiles. And matter of fact, when the author of Revelation wants you to know he's speaking exclusively about Israelites, he tells you in Revelation 7, the 12,000 from the 12 tribes of Israel. He doesn't use that language in Revelation 18. Why? Because he's talking about, yeah, Israelites, but Gentiles amongst them as well. So that's a false assumption that there's no verses that say that they get taken up.
He says
Isaiah 56 as well. Isaiah 56 says that when God gathers the Israelites, how is he going to gather the Israelites? Through chariots. That he will also gather others beside those that are gathered. Well, who's the gatherer? The Messiah. How did the Messiah gather the Israelites? Through a chariot or whatever you'd like to call it. So he'll gather those Gentiles amongst us in the same capacity. I don't see any difference.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's saying, what gate? Ezekiel 47 says, whatever tribe they're dwelling with, that's where they'll be at. I know you're probably a one Wester. What gate is your slaves going to be in?
Hey, what about someone from the tribe of Dan? What gate are they going to answer into?
Yeah, what gate is Dan going to be in?
That's the answer. You know, why have we not been saying that? That's the answer to that question. What gate is the tribe of Dan going to answer in?
What gate is Abraham and Isaac going to be in?
I'm saying Dan. I'm just going straight because they're going to say, well, they're going to pick whatever one because they, they're the ancestors. Okay, what tribe is Dan going to enter into? Or so what gate is the tribe of Dan going to enter into? You're absolutely cut, my friend.
Let's see. Somebody asks, was Simon a Canaanite? No, that word is closely similar to Canaanite, but it's actually a zealot. He was a zealot. Look at other translations and then look at the Greek itself. He says, Hassad, Deacon, I think you're leading folks astray. Eugene, are you a camper?
Eugene, you said you would absolutely destroy us. I'm going to say this respectfully. You know what? You won't destroy me, brother. I think you'd be very surprised.
Look at somebody is trying to get me and Judah the Shooter to do a debate. Judah the Shooter, look at this question here. This nigga trying to divide and conquer. I do not believe in the virgin birth, even though the brother does. That's not gonna make me stop loving him or be mad at him, or I'm not gonna say he's my beloved brother and then say he's my enemy because he teaches something different. We're not certain individuals. Okay. Who's gonna be ruling with the rod of iron? Well, it says that they're gonna beat people to pieces. Do you think that's literal? That they're gonna beat people to pieces? No, it's a figure of speech dealing with rulership. So we are gonna be the rulers of the world. They will be governing over their own people. Somebody says they missed the old Sakari. I can't lie. I mean, years ago, Sakari, I miss those days too, brother. With all respect, why don't y'all go through Ariala's PDF like y'all said y'all would? We never said
recall ever saying that we would go through a PDF.
Yeah, we never said that. We said brothers do a PDF, we would listen to it. The thing is that nobody, and go back and fact check this, nobody went through all of our slides. You got $100 in Bitcoin if you can show me one brother that went through all of our slides. Show me one brother that went through 60% of our slides, and you got 100 in Bitcoin.
Here's what I'll say too.
I'll go mine it. I'll go mine it right now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything disparaging. When people, we're called to in 1 Peter 3, that when people ask us a question, we're supposed to respond with meekness and fear and respect. So Ariella said some extremely disrespectful things to us, and I'm not gonna respond in the way in which maybe I would like to. So instead, here's what I would say. Instead of going over his peer review, I challenged Ariella to a live debate. I dare, I'm sure one of y'all sent this to Ariella, I dare you to accept the debate on a neutral platform.
That's
I already
not
tried to go on
gonna
this
happen.
platform.
It's not.
Listen, let me just say
You're
this.
wasting your breath.
1 second, I'm gonna just say this. You need to, for the audience, you need to ask yourselves, that same video he made about us calling us false prophets, he put a link in the chat for someone else to come debate him. He didn't offer me the same gratitude in extending me an invitation on his channel where he's free to mute me and overtalk me, etc. Why do you think he won't debate me? I'm going to end here. I'm sorry I have to say this, Deacon, but this is true. He said that we just want attention. We're not going to get attention talking to you, Ariella. You don't get us attention because you don't have any attention yourself. Your top 10 videos are as follows. Alazar, 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 me, Deacon, Alazar, Alazar, me, Deacon, Deacon, me, Alazar. So if anything, I'm doing you a favor. But you won't take the debate because I'll just say, I'm going to end here. Is that you, Ja? That's your new nickname, Ja or Irv. And we'll end it there.
Okay, so somebody says, our brother Rata from BOW destroyed y'all Sabbath again because he went live last Sabbath destroying every point y'all made. Listen, man, I just want to say this. I love my brother Rata. Everybody sounds good in their own presentation when nobody's there to test them and press them, which is why camp leaders who keep the Friday Sabbath say that our dear beloved brother died in that debate. There's not one lunar Sabbath camp leader or even individual that said we lost that debate. That should tell you something. But anyway, everybody sounds good when nobody's there to test what they're saying. Peace and love, and brothers. Peace and love to our brother Rata. I have no desire to go back and forth with anybody unless it's another ass whooping in a live debate.
And you know what's interesting too? And chat, y'all let me know what y'all think about this. There's the notion, I've heard it all throughout, past few months. You and Priest, you Assad, and you have a debate demon. You guys have debate demon. Why wasn't anybody saying that we had a debate demon when we agreed with them? We didn't have a demon when we agreed with everybody on these various issues. We didn't have a demon on us now. Now, all of a sudden, when we disagree, and we're saying, hey, we disagree with you, we would love to have a discussion with you. Now we have a debate demon. Really? You guys don't find that odd?
You guys have turned into content creators. Okay. Well, guess what? I'm doing a damn good job because you're here right now.
So,
if I wasn't a content creator, he wouldn't have nothing to do tonight.
What does that mean? Hold on. If we're content creators and you're here watching us, what does that make you, brother?
A content crackhead. Anyway, all praise to the Most High. All right, y'all. We've reached almost the 2-hour minute mark. We got Ronan in the back. Ronan, let's see. Somebody says, why don't people say there is a debate demon when we debate on the streets? That's good. That is a good point. Bro, Jason, you're making Ratazan look like he's scared. He said Ratazan was hoping I joined when I talked to him on the phone weekly or at least every other week. So either he said he was telling people to tag you. Why couldn't he just call me himself? You're making him look weak, and I don't believe my brother's weak. Just stop. You're not representing him properly. If I want to smoke with a nigga, I put an address on it. You understand? We call out names. Are you going to be recruiting Edomites and other nations in your camp who are sincere? We're focused on the Israelites and all those that keep God's law, statutes, and commandments. We're not even worried about getting niggas in our camp. It's not about a camp. It's about the nation of Israel. We want our people to repent and keep the commandments, because sometimes getting them in a camp makes them worse, the child of hell, before they even came into the damn camp. Are some nations going to have to pay for what they did to us? Oh, goodness.
Anyone who's done anything bad to us and is not joined to Israel, repented, and believed the Messiah will pay for what they've done.
Okay. If he wanted smoke, why wouldn't he just call me instead of telling somebody else to tag me? You don't find that girly? That's what I'm saying. I don't take him to be girly, but if that's true, then that's girly. But I can text him right now and guarantee. I don't know why. Will we debate Yachty or Rob?
I talked to Yajadiah and Rob. See, that's what I respect about Yajadiah and Rob. Whenever they see something and they disagree, Yajadiah will call my phone. He'll say, hey, either call my phone or send me a screenshot, and we'll talk and we'll build. Rob, I haven't been able to do that as much with Rob, but the invitation is open with him as well. We've had a couple conversations. Excuse me. We are talking on the phone and we're building. And I'm in hopes that as we continue to build, they will see things the way that we see them, because I believe it to be true. So if they wanted to debate, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But at this juncture, we're just building as brothers behind the scenes. Now, there's certain other people that I would love to debate them. Love it. I would love to do. I'd love to. But as for Yajadiah and Rob, if they're like, no, so I want to debate, I would immediately accept. I'm not turning nothing down. But we're building as brothers on the phone.
All praises. Jason, I bet you won't come on here and talk to me. You got this You know what? I was about to say something extremely rated R. I bet you won't come on stream right now. Use the points that he was making. I bet you won't do it. The thing about me and our brother is that we debated before. And camp leaders who had his same understanding said he died. Stop trying to dig him back up.
Had a debate together. Me and Rajazan have debated against people before as like on a unit. You know what's crazy? You don't even know Rajazan. You probably never even met Rajazan. You're over here, you know.
That's why I said he's trying to sow discord. But you come up here right now and let's talk about the Friday Sabbath and Lunar Sabbath. You do it.
You're 4 months into the truth, brother. You gotta.
Oh, one punch crunch. I will one punch crunch you. I promise you.
Stop it, brother. If you're 4 months in the truth, King, you gotta really examine yourself. Stop doing what you're doing. You're sowing discord. That's something you need to learn right now. It's to stop sowing discord amongst brothers.
Yeah,
because that's clearly what you're doing.
What you're doing is he's gonna make sure you don't get into camp. So stop. All right. So who's the worst of the heathen? Esau. All right, y'all. So let's end this, everybody, by giving all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father. Somebody says, wait, let's answer this last question on Clubhouse. The issue is after teaching people something for years, then calling people, we never said, when did we say that? Besides no. Let me say this. I'm gonna give it right to you. Besides in response to what people say, we never came out and said anything until people said what they said. And of course, we're way worse. We're worse than however you guys want to get.
To your point, Benny, I will apologize, and I'll do it again. I have no issue. In the original response video we did, were there people talking ish to us? Yes. And was it warranted on their behalf? No. But it's up to us to and still be mature and not respond to these childish insults by responding with calling people stupid or idiots and stuff, because a lot of the information, like you said, is stuff that we've taught them. So I can understand how people take issue with that.
We haven't used that word today. So if you're talking about the first video we made,
first one and maybe some other things after that, we got to take the low on that one.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I'm saying when we was doing our thing, we didn't even, we didn't. All right, we got one last brother. Let's end it with him. All right, he's back again for more. I got a question for you. Are you one West?
I'm Israel, brother. I'm Israel. That's what I'm going to say.
What's the name of God?
Yahweh.
What's the name of his son?
Yahweh Shai.
You're one West. Did you know the elders who gave you those names believe in Gentile salvation?
I seen your video when you were speaking on it from the books that they wrote.
So your foundation believed in Gentile salvation.
Like I'm agreeing with you on certain aspect that certain Gentiles will be saved, but as for the ones that you guys are trying to put into the circle, that's where I'm having a disagreement with.
Okay.
No. Like who's the worst of the heathens?
Let me read this. I'm gonna tell you. The worst of the heathens are Esau, which in Paul's time were the Romans and Greeks, correct?
Okay.
Now,
but hold on. So,
let me just read this. You asked me a question. Let me expound it. In page 11 on Marks of a Lost Race, this is what your foundation says. Your elder, he says, we find in Romans 10:9, Paul speaking to the natural Gentiles when he said, if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Joshua, and thou shalt believe in thy heart that God hath raised him from the dead, that thou shalt be saved. Who were the Romans during the time of Paul? Edomites. Your foundation said that Paul was writing to these guys saying if they confess, they're going to be saved. Do you agree with your foundation?
Like I said, there's certain aspect that I'm agreeing with. But as for the Romans in general, they were conquering everywhere. And people who joined on to them were called Romans. Were they not?
Let me just say this too, to kind of hopefully maybe bridge the gap. I don't deny that Gentiles in general will not be saved. Just like here, watch this. Will Israelites in general be saved, brother?
No, some have to go.
No, most have to go. 2/3 of us,
Yes,
almost
I
70%
agree.
has to go. So
I
just
agree.
because the majority of our people are wicked, I would contend that the majority of human beings are wicked.
But when they go, don't you guys believe in?
Just one
Don't
moment,
you?
please. Just one
Okay.
moment. So if the majority of God's chosen people are destined for destruction, then I would contend that the majority of other nations are also destined for destruction. But that doesn't mean all of them are, meaning not every individual from each respective nation. So if that's the, do you agree to that point, that there are individuals from every nation that will be saved?
The every nations that you're speaking of, like you said, I'm going to agree that is us that's going to be saved from all these other nations. That's the part. That's where I'm going with that part. I'm going that it's us scattered to the four corners.
So here's why that's not going to work.
Yes.
Where should I go? Okay. In Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9, after John sees the 144,000 of all the 12 tribes of Israel, he then sees in verse 9 an innumerable multitude which no man could number. Let me just pull it up, matter of fact. Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9. It says, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations. Now you would contend that this just means that these are Israelites scattered amongst all nations, correct?
Yes.
Okay, but here's why that won't work, King. It says, and kindreds and people. Kindreds means race. That's what the word kindred means, race.
Okay.
Israelites, how many races are Israelites?
It's one race.
Right. And yet, in Revelation 7, this innumerable multitude is of all nations and kindreds, of all races. Israelites are not all races. Israelite is a singular race.
But he's speaking of the multitudes from all over, from the four corners of the earth. We've been
make that. Stop 1 second, brother. You can try to make that, which is why I asked you, contention with nation. You could try ethnos, because sometimes ethnos can be referring to an ethnicity, or it can be referring to a geographical location. You cannot make that argument with kindred. Kindred is not referring to a geographical location or scattering of Israelites. It's referring to a race, phyla, race. That's what it means. And it's saying that this innumerable multitude is out of every race. And we just agreed Israel is a race, not every race on the planet Earth.
Okay, but Priest and Hassad, I'm agreeing with you on certain aspect that yes, there are certain Gentiles that's going to be saved, because it does say that.
Okay, out of all races.
Okay, but it's also what do you do with verses concerning like Obadiah, where it's stating that because of.
Okay, 1 second. We can get there, but we got to slow down. Let's slow down. Now, you're asking me about Obadiah 1 and 18, which says that there shall not be any left remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken. No problem answering that question. I will momentarily.
No, not just Esau though. It's a couple of other nations that's going along with it too. Yes.
Please, 1 second, brother.
Yes.
You agreed in Revelation 7 and 9, when it says all races, it in fact means all races. Are Edomites a race?
Yes, they are.
All right, so that means they would encompass Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9 as well, because they are a race, and it says that this innumerable multitude is from all races. So now you're helping yourself explain Obadiah chapter 1 verse 18. It doesn't mean literally every single Edomite, because we just agreed, Revelation 7, that this encompasses all nations, which would include Edomites. So now let's explain Obadiah chapter 1 verse 18.
All right.
It says, in the house of Jacob, let me quote it. I can't quote it on time. Let me just quote up Obadiah chapter 1 verse 18. It says, in the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame. What does this mean, house of Jacob and house of Joseph?
It means Israel.
Okay, does it mean every single Israelite?
House of Joe. Yes, it means every single, because remember Israel.
Okay, that would mean like infants as well, right?
Say it again.
So that would include infants then, an infant Israelite.
If he's an Israelite, yes, he is. It means it means all of Israel.
Okay, I got you. Okay. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them. Who's going to kindle in Esau and devour them?
We are going to be given the power to destroy Esau.
Who's hold on 1 second. Who's we? Contextual.
Israel.
The house of Joseph and the house of Jacob, right?
Yes.
So you said that means every single one, including infants. So you're saying infants are going to be picking up swords and spears to be unaliving Edomites?
No, no,
Oh, so
no.
what you then would be saying is house does not mean every single one, right?
It means everyone of who's able to be go to war wise. Israel, like I
Okay,
said, I'm
okay.
hold on, Assad, hold on. I'm saying,
Wow. No, you just did something to yourself, brother.
Yeah.
hold on, hold
Correct.
on.
No, it's not. One second.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's assume that what you just one second. Let's assume that what you just said is correct. Okay. Now, if you're consistent with your understanding of house, meaning those who are of military age, then when it gets to house of Edom, if you're going to be consistent with house of Joseph and house of Jacob, meaning military age, then that means house of Esau would also have to be just military age and not those who are, 1 to 19 years old. Which would mean that this verse is not saying that every single Edomite will be destroyed. Even in your own understanding, it would only be saying those who are of military age.
Okay, so let me ask you this now.
Well, I have no problem with you asking me something, but can you respond to that?
Okay, I'm agreeing with you. It's from my takeaway from it is that it's meaning of military age. It's not meaning the infants and young babies and so forth. It's talking about even if you're a young man, you will be part of destroying Esau. That's just my takeaway from it. But one thing I like to say, if Esau, hold up. Now, if Esau is destroyed, if Esau is going to be forgiven, which land is Esau going back to?
Okay, well, you didn't respond to Obadiah 1 at all, and you're not seeing, brother, the clear contradiction with what you just said. You're asking. So first we went to Revelation 7. You made a statement. Matter of fact, let's rewind a few steps. You're saying that, yeah, some of the nations can get salvation, but what about Esau? That's what you kind of asked that, and you asked about Obadiah.
Yes.
We went to Revelation 7, and you had to concede that that is encompassing all races, not just Israelites. So you're conceding that one, not just Israelites can be saved. And Edom is a race, and it says all races in Revelation 7, which means Edomites would have to be included in that. Then when you're asking me to explain Obadiah 1, you had to concede that that verse is not saying that every single Edomite will be destroyed. And instead of kind of responding to that and saying, well, you know what, maybe I got to look into some things, now it's like, okay, what about this? What about that?
No, but I consent to that though. I'm like, okay, but the question from what I'm getting though, from where I'm going with it is, which country is Esau going to go to? Since every man is going to go back to his own country, which country is Esau going to?
Okay, I'm going to directly, as I have with every other question you've asked me, I'm going to directly answer it. But I want to highlight something first.
Yes.
Again, you're just moving the goalpost further and further. First it was they can't be saved. Now it's okay. Well, yeah, they can, but where are they going to live?
No, I'm not agreeing that they can be saved. I'm not agreeing that they can be saved. I think they're going to be destroyed utterly, as the book says. I'm not agreeing with.
You disagree with your foundation, though, right?
Yeah, well, not just
no, because the nation, there's certain, like I said, I'm agreeing that there's certain nations that's going to be saved. It says that there's certain nations that's going to be saved, but not pertaining to Esau, not pertaining to certain other.
Hold on. Let me moderate. Let him land his plane, Hassad, and then go ahead, brother.
Not pertaining to Esau, not pertaining to certain countries. So if Esau is destroyed, and it says that every man will return to his own country, which country is Esau returning to? This needs to be.
Now you have the right. So Hassad has the right to respond to things you said earlier too, and this. Go ahead.
Okay, but that's where I'm landing my plane. I need to know which country is Esau returning to, because Esau will have no power. Esau will not be forgiven. Esau will not be forgiven. So where's he returning to?
Are you listening?
Yes, I'm going to. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, all right. So your question is, what country are Edomites going to live in? That's your question. Now,
yes.
I have to highlight something. You are literally disagreeing with your past self of 6 minutes ago. Your past self of 6 minutes ago acknowledged that, yeah, Obadiah 1 is not saying every single Edomite is going to be destroyed. But you just said, well, no, every Edomite is going to be destroyed. So let me ask you, are there going to be Edomites who are saved? Yes or no?
They're going to be, if they go, okay, this is what, if they're going to be saved, they're going to be saved.
Excuse me. I asked
okay, you got me in that. Okay. If I'm going to have to agree, I'm agreeing with you on justice. If some of Esau will be saved, but they're going to be saved to be servants unto us.
Okay, they're going to be saved
because they won't have their own countries, and you guys need to answer that question. They will not have their own countries.
Okay, all right. Well, here's what I'll do. I'm going to directly answer your question, and then after I'm done
Yes.
answering your question, I'm going to go back to all the questions of mine that you contradicted just now and have failed to answer. So now, what country are the Edomites going to live in? Obadiah says, they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau. So we're going to take their land. What lands will they live in? They'll live throughout the world. It doesn't specify where they're going to live. And number one, Edomites have always lived amongst us. Now, my
Stop for a minute. But Esau had his own country okay.
Sir, let him just land his plane and then you can respond.
This is really on point, and I want to explain why. He just agreed that not all Edomites are going to be destroyed, and Edomites are going to be saved to be servants. Well, to be servants to who? Well, to Israelites, he would say. Well, where would they live if they're servants to Israelites? In Israel. So that's him asking me that question. He doesn't even realize that he's debunking his own ideology with the question that he's asking me, number one. Number two, he doesn't specify where the Edomites are going to live because it doesn't have to. Because there's going to be different groups of people living in different parts of the world, as they always have. Now, will there be people who return to their ancestral homelands and they will be the predominant majority of the people who inhabit those places? Sure. So could it be a position where there's some Edomites in Israel and there's some Edomites in Brazil and there's some Edomites in Japan? Sure. That's not really the point. I want everybody to remember the point is whether or not they will be saved, not where they will live. They could live on Jupiter or Mars. It doesn't matter. Elon Musk could be saved and he could build a colony on Mars and they could live there. They could live in the International Space Station. It doesn't matter. What matters is, are there going to be Gentiles who are saved, specifically Edomites?
I want to say this too. When you look at
it now.
I'm going to give it back to you, but I want to do this for everybody watching. When you look at it, though, when you even look at Obadiah 1:19, it doesn't say that they won't have any land. It says that we're going to possess the mountains of Esau. That's not all of their land, though. That just means we're going to have a larger territory.
Priest, that's not what it's saying right there. We're going to possess them. If we're going to possess them, then what are we doing with Esau?
Where does it say they won't have any land is what I'm asking.
But if we're possessing them, I asked you this question before. If we are possessing them, what are we doing to Esau?
Are we going to possess, watch this, are we going to possess every nation?
No.
What do you mean?
We're not going to possess them. We're not going to possess them as they're going to be tribute to us, but we're not going to possess their land where we're saying this is what we want in the land, this is what you can do and what you can't do. But they're going to come and paying tribute to our God because they're going to walk in our statues and they're going to walk in.
Hold on, wait a minute. I thought what is okay. Wait a minute. Psalm 2, it says, Christ, ask me and I'll give you the heathen for your inheritance and the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. What are the uttermost parts of the earth?
It means the whole earth.
So Christ is going to rule the whole world, right?
Yes, he is.
What race is he?
He's an Israelite.
So wait a minute. So that means Israel will possess all nations, right?
Okay, he's going to be king. You
don't get it? Their point is just self-defeating. You're saying because we're possessing Edomites, that means they don't have their own land. Yet Jesus Christ, who is an Israelite, is going to possess the whole planet Earth.
Because it says Esau will have nothing at the end. They will have nothing. They will not have their own land. They will be dispossessed. They will be dispossessed, and they will be destroyed. We are going to conquer Esau to a point where they're going to be destroyed, and they have to pay back for the dues, for the things that they have done unto Israel. They have to pay back. So how is Esau? Hold on. How is Esau being saved if he has to pay back? If he's being conquered, how is he being saved?
His name is Max. His name is Mad
Max. Yeah, that's what they call me sometimes. Max,
this is the fourth time you contradicted yourself, literally. First you just said they're going to be possession. Now you're saying they're going to be dispossessed. You're saying, how can they be saved? Earlier you just said twice they're going to be saved. So which Max?
I never said they're going to be saved. They're going to be conquered. They're going to be conquered and destroyed. They're going to be conquered and destroyed. There's a difference. They're going to be conquered and destroyed.
Okay, so let's go back. I have to. So your foundation, your elders, they said they're going to be saved. They didn't say saved for slavery and servitude. It just says, and so in Romans 10:9, when it says, Paul was speaking to the natural Gentiles when he said, if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Joshua and believe in thy heart that God hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. Are you saying this verse means Edomites are going to be saved for slavery?
No, what I'm trying to say is that context right there is talking about Gentiles in general. It's not just talking about Esau. It's not talking about Esau.
Okay.
It's talking about Gentiles in general.
Okay, but is it about slavery or their salvation through Christ?
It's towards salvation through Christ, because we do know that they're going to come to our ways.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate you.
Come on. You're right there.
We love you, brother.
But it's not Esau though. Esau has to be priest.
All right, I gotta mute you. I gotta mute you real quick, brother. You are doing so much double talking. Like, are you pigeon-toed and bow-legged at the same time? You're literally tripping all over your feet, brother. You just said that Romans 10:9 is all the Gentiles and it's salvation through Christ, but somehow you're trying to say that you have a different understanding that, some slavery. Nah, brother. The ones who are believing and confessing and cleaving, that's not the captive ones. The ones who unify are not the captives. The ones that cleave are not the captives. So what I'm going to do is this. We are past 2 hours. I'll give you the last word, brother. Go ahead. You're right at the brink, though. You're right at the brink of you yourself getting salvation. You just need to get this truth, brother.
No, brother, y'all guys haven't answered my question, though. Is it not? It says that there's certain Gentiles. There's certain Gentiles that's going to cleave onto Israel. We all know that. But there's certain Gentiles that's going to be destroyed because of the things that they have done onto Israel. Okay. Am I correct? Am I incorrect?
Max. I know Deacon said he's going to let you get the last word. But Max,
yes.
Didn't you say like 5 minutes ago that not every Edomite's going to be destroyed, but they will be saved to serve? Didn't you say that?
No. They will be conquered, and what becomes of them is that they're going to be servant unto us. They're not going to go back to their own country. Esau is never going to become into power again. That means if you have your own country, you will be in your own power. Will you not? Esau is not going to bend to us. There's no way Esau is going to bend to us. He's not made to bend to us. He's going to be destroyed at the end. And you guys are leading people straight to what I'm saying, that Esau will be saved.
It literally says the elder shall serve the younger. What are you talking about? Who's the elder?
Assad, what I'm trying to say is that Israel will conquer Esau. There's no redemption for Esau, as the book says. You guys are saying that there's redemption for Esau when the book is saying there's no redemption for Esau. You can't say there's redemption for some when the book said all of Esau. There will be nothing left of Esau. So even if
straight down the pipe, watch this. When the people that Jesus Christ is coming back to save, are they redeemed? Yes or no?
If he's coming back to save them, yes, they are. They're going to be redeemed from it.
Listen, it's a very specific question. When Jesus Christ comes back, the people that he's coming to save, are they redeemed? Yes or no?
Yes, they are redeemed. He's coming to save them, right?
Stop. You're going too fast. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Then you agree in Romans 10:9 that concerning if you believe in Christ and confess him with your mouth, that you shall be saved. That means Gentiles will be included in that. Yes or no?
Certain Gentiles, yes. I'm not going to say all Gentiles.
Certain Gentiles. It doesn't say that.
But I saw from what we have read, that's what it is stating, that because it also excludes certain Gentiles from being saved.
No, it doesn't. It says, if you shall confess with your heart. Whoever. It literally says, matter of fact, here's how we know what it says. Just keep reading in Romans chapter 10. Look what it says. Romans chapter 10 and verse 13. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. It says the exact opposite of what you just said. You're saying it's exclusive. No, it says in verse 12. I'll read in verse 13. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. Greek would be a white person, Edomite. For the same Lord is over all, is rich unto all that call upon him.
So who are we selling to the Serbians? Who are we selling to the Serbians for born man and born woman? There's just so much things that's showing that there's gonna be something.
Have you just been sent to, like, do you have a quota for questions to ask? And it's like, You don't really care to hear our answer?
No, because the book is saying that there's certain Gentiles that's going to be destroyed, and there's certain Gentiles that's going to be saved. And you
Okay,
guys are not trying to admit it. You guys are trying to say all of the Gentiles are going to be saved,
okay,
which
here's
cannot be. The book is not saying that.
Your point.
so
Do you
you're
think that you have accurately proven your point during this conversation?
Brother Assad, I'm going to say, brother, you still didn't answer the question. Will Esau have his own country? Yes or no?
yes.
Yeah, well,
Oh my God. Okay,
So
that's
I told you to
insane.
show me. I told you to
That's
show me.
insane, priest. I don't believe you.
So
Yes.
show me where they won't. I said Obadiah 1:19 says that we would further and expand our territory, but it doesn't say all of Esau. Nevertheless, the debate isn't where somebody's going to land, where somebody's going to live geographically. The debate is, or the discussion rather, is who can receive salvation. So when I went to your elders, the founders, your foundation, and it says we find in Romans 9, Paul is writing to the Romans. Who are these Romans?
It could also be Israelite that he's writing to, because Israel was scattered in without through all the priests of Rome. Were they not? Was Paul not a Roman?
Yes, it could be Israelites, and who else? According to what your foundation says,
It could also be Gentiles.
Okay, which natural Gentiles are they?
I can't say what are the natural Gentiles, because Rome was conquering a whole lot of places, not just Israel. They was conquering almost a whole third part of the world. They was conquering it. And anyone that wanted to become if you became a Roman, then you would call Roman, were you not?
Were Edomites prominent in Rome?
If Esau is the Caucasian man, then yeah, they were prominent in Rome, because they became Esau and Chittim and all these countries became one. So yes, they are the Romans.
Okay, so Paul is, according to your foundation, Paul is writing to these natural Gentiles in Rome, which Rome is predominantly Edomites. So why wouldn't they be included in this?
Brother, he was talking to the Israelites in Rome, brother. Come on, we all know he was talking to the Israelites in Rome, brother. He was not talking to the natural Roman citizens of Rome. He was talking to the Israelites, brother.
So
Come
you
on.
disagree with your foundation then? So you disagree with your foundation then, right?
I'm not disagreeing with it, because you guys still haven't answered my question.
Bro, listen to what
Esau
I'm
going to be?
Listen to what I'm saying very carefully.
Yes, brother.
You just said that Paul is not writing to natural Gentiles when he's writing to the Romans. But your foundation says right here on page 11 in Marks of Allah's Race says that Paul is writing to natural Gentiles in Romans 10:9. So do you disagree with your foundation? Yes or no?
I'm answering your question, priest. He's writing to Israel, but if there's Gentiles that's within Rome who are not natural Romans, because not everyone is a natural Roman. This is what you guys are not understanding.
Hey, we love you, brother. We love you, and shalom. Yeah, it's over, man. Damn. Oh man, that's crazy. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna show the world that one West Israelites disagree with their foundation. And if you agree that you disagree with your foundation, you're in a pickle either way. Either you agree with your foundation and you're agreeing with us, or you disagree with your foundation and your foundation that you have is not solid. You're in a pickle here, buddy. Anyway. Well, y'all, it's been real. Anything else on Clubhouse? Assad, take us out, brother.
With that, we give all praise to the Most High in the name of the Son, and we say shalom.
Hey, y'all, and pray for those one Westers. As you can see, their mind is being fracked and mimed. All right, so y'all pray for the brothers. Lord willing, everybody repent. Till next time, peace, blessings, and shalom.